We hear over and over again about the need to support working families and to enact policies that help them, not hurt them. And in many other areas, we're finding agreement or we have good faith disagreements. But Madam Speaker, there is simply no way around it that the underlying bill will have enormous negative repercussions and financial impacts on working families, on the very families who can least afford to pay those higher impacts this bill would have.
We're asking something of Washington State. We're asking to constrain the gross domestic product of Washington State in an attempt to solve something that is truly out of our control. And so I'm just asking us to think about, let's evaluate the benefit cost of this policy from the lens of who it will hurt. The least among us, the historically disadvantaged, the working poor. It seems prudent to do that.
This policy will run up the cost of gasoline and the cost of diesel fuel. And it'll run up those costs in a way that harm frontline workers, that harm exactly the kinds of people and families that we all speak of wanting to help here.
The higher the cost goes to bring in those raw materials, the less money that our small forest landowners are going to receive. That's just to get it to the plant. Then on the other end of the plant, the costs are going to go up for the delivery of the fuel. Then the cost is going to go up of the fuel. And then the cost is going to go up for delivering, as the gentleman from the 17th said, the lumber products to build the home. And as others have said, so too will the price of food.
Because contrary to popular belief, our food doesn't come from Safeway. It comes off our farms and ranches, and it's produced by folks that work way harder and earn way less than the time they put in to do it. So did we talk to any of these folks about this bill, about what it was going to cost them? I'm going to tell you, Madam Speaker, nobody talked to me, and I'm a member of the House of Representatives, and nobody walked up and said, Tom, do you think this bill will hurt your sector? Nobody did that. But I've heard today, well, it won't hurt anything, and I don't believe that.
We have to think about intended and unintended costs. We're being asked in the state of Washington with this policy to advance even faster than California is doing, almost twice as fast to get to those goals. I appreciate the good gentleman from the 34th. Yeah, time is of the essence around his argument. But I also think about that advanced cost of pushing to get to those goals. What's it going to mean for the people of Washington? How much more is it going to add to a gallon of gas? How much more is it going to add to the food we eat? You can't escape that in every argument we talk about when we talk about regulations and the policies that we do in this body.
We've heard about the Amazon rainforest and the loss of that and what that does to the global environment. And yet that's one of the areas that's being decimated to grow the crops that produce the biofuel. And that's what would be substituted for what we would be producing here. So while we're focusing so much on the environmental impacts in our state, we ignore the environmental impacts in the rest of the world.
Madam Speaker, we hold a level of responsibility. There should be no reason that we don't put in the bill that we do not stand for child or forced labor. Madam Speaker, this is something that I think many of us, if not all in this body, would agree. That I do not want to consume a product by the hands of a child.
We don't need this, Madam Speaker. We don't need this to innovate in this state. We've got those people. We've got the innovators on the front lines right now. We just need to get out of their way.